Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we're back to Trine 2. Let's hop into the next level.
It's better to travel on a full stomach. What a fine lady this Rosabelle is.
I thought she was rather beautiful. For an older woman.
More so than your wife?
She must be sick with worry, or very angry. Probably both.
Funnily enough, that's probably about as much communication between the three characters that ever actually happens in Trine 1, or probably in this whole game too. So in the last episode, were sent off on a quest by Lady Rosabelle, who may or may not turn out to be the bad guy, where we're going to a castle across the ocean, I believe is what she said, to defeat the Goblin King, who might actually either be a good guy or might turn out to be interesting. How the ripples there are so repetitive. No variation, no programming difference in it. Okay. So if I didn't have this, and even with this, it really feels like I can only go so far. I can go about that far, and then I probably need a cube to hold things down, and then I would need to rotate this. But if I didn't have plank at this point, if I just was trying to speedrun the game without leveling up at all, it would be tight, certainly. Rather tight. Like, so maybe I'm supposed to just float the object. Maybe I'm supposed to put a cube down first and then put this away. Although I'm kind of in the wrong position. Like, by default, you would be able to craft one cube. And by default, this character would be able to shoot an arrow. But it does just kind of puddle from that point further. Trying to make these smaller boxes is frankly a little bit more difficult than making the larger ones. Okay, so that didn't work either. I wonder, honestly, since this does seem like this is just chain link fence, if water wouldn't just flow through it anyways. So we did water the area by just moving the platform, and that does just kind of seem like that was it. I have no idea why I'm in this area though at the moment. Like, seems like we just oddly walked through a spooky crypt, just perhaps because there was a spooky crypt 3D textures and models from the first game, and now we have a shielded guy. Shielded spear throwing goblin. And you have a creepy tree looking at you in the background, showing, I guess, off their tracking technology. And that guy had to be defeated, it seemed, with...
What sort of flower is that?
Not a daisy.
Something is very wrong with this forest.
Actually, we'll just knock this over that way. Okay. Weird. So we can move this and get it to eat that. But that's not going to respawn, and I just got an achievement for doing that. So I literally believe that the strategy here was simply to move past the flower looks like you can jump up to the other side of those characters. Let's see. I don't understand why I could potentially spin this up this way, though. It doesn't seem like that helps much. We don't see a ladder here. So if we ran into the problem of being eaten by a flower the first time, and we didn't really find a solution to that, then how am I supposed to know how to solve it a second time? Yeah. The thing about puzzle games is that you need to have an aspect of learning in the experience. You don't just want to muddle your way through one solution and then have to muddle your way through another solution that's completely not logically connected to the previous solution. Finally, the music is starting to kick back in. I guess there might be an idea here that the goblins are getting eaten by plants as much as I'm getting eaten by plants. So we've got this lantern, which seems to not really do anything. Oh wait, you pick up the fireflies, and then they'll eat the fireflies. Interesting. So I need a lantern, which is one. And then we can get through that. And then too quick on that one. Okay. Let's go back and check on this. Definitely feels like it would be nice if some of these other things like handled themselves a little bit better. Like it is a little too much. Like this doesn't make a lot of sense. They have to go this far to get to this point. Now we've got our warrior guy, who is by far the hardest to jump with, even though it really does feel like it is just kind of a small amount of difference. It's definitely feelable. You definitely want to be in this thief's mode when you're jumping. Yeah, I don't particularly love that gameplay mechanic with the fireflies and the lanterns. It feels like there should have been a secondary concept that was dealt with there. Well, color me confused on that. I have no idea. If I was to jump here and swipe through that, I don't think my attacks knocked the items out. Oh. So I was just supposed to break the rocks. This gives me fire arrows now. So we can do this to change the fire arrows now. Is that enough water? No. I could definitely see situations here where you end up with players struggling because they're just more in line with the idea that they wouldn't have to switch between characters that fast. That may be a logical fallacy. Even in the first game, you may very well have had to have switched between characters fairly quickly to solve puzzles. But there clearly is a different experience here than something that would be just a pure take your time type puzzle game. Portal also had that aspect to it, certainly.
Look at those tiny lights!
Haven't you seen fireflies before? They're attracted to light.
See, and now we're getting the hint that we should have had a while ago. Come on. I want to grab this, attract the fireflies, see if maybe I can get them to eat that while I run to the other side and pull up a platform, I guess. Meanwhile, what am I otherwise supposed to be doing here? Making just a platform? Is there some secret passage down there worth investigating? Definitely feels like you can certainly build quite a bit. But the lantern here was kind of in the way. So all my construction got knocked out of the water. Let's just be more realistic and do that. And then do this. There's nothing under here. So 4 blocks high. I could have built 3.
They needed to distract this flesh-eating plant monster with fireflies, but they would have to find a lantern first.
And even the hint after 2 minutes is not really telling me anything new.
I don't feel right.
You should have eaten more than an apple for dinner.
No, it's this forest. It's somehow dark.
That's because it's way past midnight.
So yeah, that feels like a boss fight, or before we get another boss fight, and looks like we're going to see a church in the background. So will we actually go in the church, or is it simply a building? One criticism these game developers could probably put on themselves is the fact that so far in Trine 1 and Trine 2 the game has been exclusively outdoors with not any interior sections, really. Like, when you are in a castle, it is basically just the exact same thing as a cave. And they really haven't done a lot of exterior design. They do distance looking exterior design, and that's about it. Interesting. This looks like a glove that you would pick up or interact with, but it almost certainly is just like a gauntlet glove that I don't know why you can turn those when they don't seem to matter. I can't get over the top of this. So just jump through all that. And we'll checkpoint ourselves, and then we'll just look here and see if there was possibly anything. So I actually was kind of surprised by how successful that went. Like I definitely would have expected that to actually work quite gravely. I thought I was going to struggle to get through all those fire sections. And weirdly, we have the fire sections, but they don't do anything. It just took us to this puzzle section. I keep expecting the tree to do something in the background, and I don't think it actually is going to. I think the move is probably to just do this, then let go, then wedge that there. Still way too dark. Didn't really need to do the jumping at all. I could have just come from here and done that to get around that. Of course, if you don't get good at that one maneuver, you probably can't beat this game. The impossible swinging yourself up, which physics-wise, gravity-wise, you could not swing yourself up so high that you would be able to then jump off and push off of the rope swing to then get higher and on the top of a platform.
That pit is full of those monster plants.
Close your eyes and imagine they're hyacinths.
I guess maybe this is an attempt at, like, fixing the fact that there wasn't a real finishing of that narrative as far as the monster plants. Now we're back up here. And there was nothing up there. Anyway, down below. See, and that looks like there's a experience orb just right there next to the flower, and it isn't an experience orb. Suffice to say, I'm finding these puzzles kind of annoying. I guess the general idea is you have to do this. Then do this. That didn't work. Nothing for falling down that side. Okay. Like, how in the world, though, am I supposed to collect that orb? Yeah. Oh, I see. That's how you do it. It drastically changes your experience when that spins, where I thought that was just a wall. There we go. Hi. And then faster transitions to fights. And the music is starting to get a little repetitive in that it is just the same combat music when it comes in, and then it gets quiet when you're not in combat. Feels like there potentially would have been two sizes of plants, like really big ones that would kill you on the first try, and then less dangerous ones. I don't know what it's reaching for, but and it's easier to just swing than it is to try and platform the regular way. Now we're probably going to have a bit of a change here.
Dear Izzy, happy birthday and thank you for the roses. I went to bed early. You've so many dancing partners to choose from. I think your feet will be quite sore tomorrow. Rosabelle.
So is there some kind of jealousy that comes about from that? I wonder. What would be kind of interesting if it turned out that there actually wasn't two sisters, and instead it was a case of split personality or something. Let's work our way all the way down. And then work our way, I guess, all the way back up. You can see the hammer throwing ability is saving me a lot of what would otherwise be awkward jumping and swiping of the sword. So far, though, I wouldn't say I've really benefited much from the fire arrows. Let's see. Go ahead and make a platform there, and we'll go ahead and pull this downward. That's going to spin that. Okay. So questions are abound. Okay. So if I make a long spike thing here, could I possibly stab that into the wall? Do I really need to do that? Alright, let's get rid of that. Let's start with this. Can we spike that in the wall? Yes, we can, which totally makes this way easier. But didn't particularly make that part easier. Oh well. We just have a whole collection of garbage of other spawn things. Now weirdly, what you wouldn't have is like an achievement to spawn the least amount of stuff ever. I thought here is if I could pivot this enough, that would potentially bring it down. Yeah.
The gate control mechanism was attached to a water wheel, but the water was flowing in the wrong direction. But it was nothing a box and a plank couldn't take care of.
A box and a plank. Well, that's interesting that that is apparently the solution here. Then. That they want me to potentially do something like this. Arguably, if I draw straight up on a line, I probably am not actually trying to make a plank. So I think the game would be smart enough to not do that. Maybe the puzzle is actually to literally just do this. Make a box. Make a plank. Water is now going to flow the other way, maybe. Okay. Wow, that is super fiddly. If anything, this is an example of the problem with implementing physics in a video game. Is that when you start to try to represent the real world has about 1 million wrong ways to do something and one right way. Hitting this guy with fire arrows doesn't feel like it's doing much more damage. So I think I probably wasted some thoughts here. Explosive arrows, though, still I guess would be your next step. Like, I just don't know what else is that important. Otherwise, the other abilities all seem kind of neutral. And all I can do is kind of jump to the left to make sure there aren't any other collectibles and kind of hope. Right. And see, that's just leaving the whole area there, which we're not quite ready to do because we have another spider to kill. We only have one level, so we're still waiting. There is kind of an obvious quality of life improvement to be made, where basically any game like this could have a section, have a little bit of programming, not a section. I'm losing my train of thought quite a bit while playing this game, if you haven't noticed. But yeah, a little bit of programming would be all they would need to see if the amount of XP you got is too much or too little to actually level up any of the unlockables. It's worth mentioning that these elements, by the way, of is it worth even refilling the life? When you get the hearts, it never refills at random another character. So the odds are extremely low, at least on medium difficulty, which is what I think I'm playing on. I don't think I'm playing on easy. Odds are kind of low that you would have any damage at all. Okay. Whoops. So you either avoid getting shot, or you get the leaf up higher. Would twisting this change its cycle? No. So it really is just a go for it idea. We've now collected some more concept art. Was that going to explode? We could have also just swung. So I'm generally just assuming I got everything that I needed to get there. We'll refill our character. I would say it doesn't feel like the divide is as good as it should be. As far as super difficult puzzles and being the optional puzzles to find the concept art, and the easier puzzles being the ones for the main storyline quests and just getting from the beginning to the end of a level. There we go. Now we're out of an area, and seems to me like things will try to change up a little bit more. Jump on that, jump on that, and then I just ran into some spiked thorns that hurt me, which is weird because no spiked thorns have ever hurt me before. We seem to have a decent amount of booby traps being thrown at us now. It feels like this is supposed to be a logging operation. Let's see what happens here. Well, that simply prevents the things from sawing me in half. But can't burn these. We've got a big guy with a health bar, and seemingly we got lucky. Somewhat lucky. Okay, we need to find where an orb is, and there is no orb. So this feels like a point, certainly, where maybe the game is ready to make us really have to go through the full hassle of winning a fight legitimately. Although it seems to me if you can just stay behind him, you can kill him pretty quickly. You don't have enough swing. Another thing that possibly seems like might be the case is that you could just break this bridge. But I guess that's not the case. Okay. So that makes a platform for not a ton of time. You're gonna have to get up here, you're gonna have to jump on that, you're gonna have to jump on that. Then that gets you to this point of somewhat safety. And then you have to come up here. And then I'll get you to this point of safety. then we'll swing ourselves up to this point. Up to this point. So that was just like a sub-boss fight from the looks of it, unless we are just about to end the level. Fire arrow did kill that guy in one hit. Can I somehow arch an arrow to hit the other guy? You would really have to struggle to get it. You'd have to do that multiple times. Get the spin right, get the angle correct. These banners look like something you might shoot and start on fire for like an extra achievement. But no, not really. There really is just far too much like background stuff going on. Perhaps that's in part why there was such a large rejection of the Trine 3 moving to 3D, is just that there's already too much in this 2.5D art style to keep an eye on. I see there's a box here. Let's see if we can figure out how to get the box. Move. By the looks of it, it would be this side. Yeah. It feels very easy to miss. And I would like severely question how you're supposed to like, it seems like you're just supposed to long jump this way. But that won't work. That's as high as it goes. I guess if you made a platform here, like that. Yeah, it just seems like you're supposed to swing there to get to that point. It doesn't feel like that's the real solution, though. But whatever, it worked for me. What's the deal with the water? Get a bunch of water here. Like, there's no ducking here, though, so if I was to try and do this, which is going to break that, which is going to break that, And I guess that was the way to collect those. Swing that back that way. And do that. I imagine I'm supposed to just do this, or something like this. Alright. Yeah. Probably easier to solve this way. Maybe a small box here on the other side. And then maybe a barrier here. Definitely seems like you've got to get everything settled though. But there's no room for halfway solutions. Or moving things quickly. Unless I'm supposed to do that. But that doesn't seem like that makes sense either. If I could get the whole conveyor belt to spin the other direction, that would be interesting. Is there any indication though, as far as all the gears spinning everything, that that would work? I don't think so. It would have to be a pretty obvious switch. And once we cross that point, we're then into the next puzzle. Long line, small box. Long line. Maybe it's long line this way, and then we just start it on this platform enough that it starts to move to the left. No, because that would destroy it too quickly. Long line here maybe gives you enough time. Man, this is killing my fingers. Seems kind of obvious you want a box there. Seems kind of obvious that you want a long line here. Maybe we just make a bigger box here. And then we make a flat line here. This is too much. Now I'm gonna struggle to shoot an arrow. I basically have to stand here. Okay, finally found a solution. I have 4 conjured items on the screen though. So, I need one here. Then I need a box here. Then I need a long line here. And that's the like maximum level of things we could spawn. And let's just be honest, there's no other lines, no planks, no items to be had, so it seems to me like it is straight up game over for the player if they haven't upgraded themselves to a certain level here. I was hoping to reach that, and it seems to me like you cannot reach that at all. Like, how would you do it? You would have to draw a line and try and balance it without really seeing. So like best case scenario, you try to jump on that, get enough air, and jump on that. And if that was the right way to solve that, that's... it's getting ridiculous. And I guess they wanted me to jump through this log, but I instead jumped over it. That way I know where I'm actually going. I kind of hope this is the end of the level.
This must be the cave Rosabelle mentioned. It should lead us to the castle.
I thought she said the castle was across the sea, but maybe I wasn't paying enough attention.
As the heroes moved beyond the dark grove, their hearts felt uplifted. According to Rosabelle, the swiftest way to the castle went through the cavernous tunnels. The path led down to the underbelly of the forest.
Okay, so another hour of gameplay, and once again I've only gotten an achievement, it seems, for beating that one level. I didn't get an achievement for finding all the chests in that level, and I didn't get an achievement for finding all the experience orbs in that level. Maybe it's a case that every 2, 3, or even 4 levels are all conglomerated into one area. And so maybe there isn't actually an achievement for getting all the experience orbs in just one level. Of course, I could just go back to the main menu and confirm or deny a lot of that, but we'll just wait until the game is over to see how much collectibles actually are left. Looking at the achievements, we have like 15 out of 97, so I'm probably missing quite a few of them, and I wouldn't be surprised if there's actually achievements for just beating the game without dying or beating it on the highest levels of difficulty. And yeah, I'm not going to do that. Noticeably, we had quite the struggle with the platforming puzzles that were given to us in this level, and I wonder if maybe that's how the back half of this game is really going to be. It's just going to have a major difficulty, not spike, but plateau, where it just goes up and then stays really difficult for the rest of the game, whereas a spike would go up then eventually come back down. Or it may just have straight up a difficulty climb where it just gets worse and worse and worse as we go, which would really suck. But yeah, we're at a point now where I could see players of the original Trine 1, if they are enjoying that slow, peaceful platforming, puzzling aspects, or if they're enjoying maybe slow, peaceful platforming, or if they're just enjoying slow puzzling, you're not really getting that in this last level at all. You're having to more just muddle your way through puzzles, trying to figure out what the game creators intended you to do, or just trying to figure out how you're actually supposed to defeat carnivorous plants, which, yeah, it doesn't seem like there really is a way to defeat them. They're just avoid enemies. And I don't like that in games, certainly. Indestructible enemies don't really work for me. They didn't work for me back in the days of the NES era in the 80s, when you would have like chain chomps or creatures like that were nearly indestructible, and they certainly aren't any better now. Anyways, that's going to be it for this recording. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.